أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أيها الأحبة في الله، فضل أيام العشر من ذي الحجة والأعمال أو بعض الأعمال الواردة في هذه الأيام الفضيلة التي أقسم الله سبحانه وتعالى بها، فقال: والفجر وليال عشر. قال ابن عباس رضي الله عنه قال: هي ليالي العشر الأول من ذي الحجة. وقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في سورة الحج: ويذكر اسم الله في أيام معدودات أو في أيام معلومات. ابن عباس أيضا قال: هي العشر الأول من أيام ذي الحجة. جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله عنه روى حديثا عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، حديثا عظيما، يقول: إن أفضل أيام الدنيا العشر. أفضل أيام الدنيا. كم يوم في الدنيا يا شباب؟ مين بيجاوب؟ How many days in dunya? One of you don't know how many days?
365.
365, are you sure?
No.
You have any other answer?
Oh, and that's what here.
How about 354?
We don't.
We don't know.
No? Muslims follow Gregorian or they follow the lunar? 54 days lunar year. The moon, you know that round thing? Brothers and sisters, we're talking about the 10 days, the virtues of the 10 days of Dhul Hijja. 10 days of Dhul Hijja, which is starting tomorrow. Or it is starting now already. You can say we're starting now, because the day finishes in Maghrib, in some opinion. So, 10 days. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swore by these days. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by something, it's because of its importance. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about people in Hajj, and He said, and so that they celebrate the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in specific days. And He was talking subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, the 10 days of Dhul Hijja, the first 10 days of Dhul Hijja. But this hadith that talks about the goodness of those days, when the Prophet ﷺ said, أَفْضَلُ أَيَّامِ الدُّنْيَا, the best of this universe days, all the days that we know, the 354 lunar days or 365 solar days, Gregorian, or however you call it, the best 10 is the first 10 days of the Hijjah, regardless of what day you're talking about. This is to tell you how special tomorrow is for each and every one of us, if you really want to have an opportunity to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يفضل أيام ويختار أيام أو مواسم حتى يتقرب العبد إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى بأسرع وقت ويعوض ما فاته من أيام. When you talk about those specific or special days, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us opportunities like that? So people who could not, for some reason or another, catch up, people who did not take an opportunity of their time, people who sin too much, people who want to go higher in Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you every now and then special days that gives you an opportunity to catch up with everyone who was not doing more than what you are doing. How can we catch up with the before us? كيف يعني ممكن مثلا انت تعيش 60 سنة او 70 سنة وغيرك عاش من قوم نوح مئات السنين، كيف تلحق بهؤلاء بفضيلة هذه الأيام؟ How can you catch up with the people of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam when you live 60, 70 years, the average, and they live hundreds of years? They definitely worshiped more and did more and all that, but when you come and you take care of those days and you work hard in those 10 days, you catch up with them and a lot more than that, and you pass everyone. So these days are so special to the point Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, and Ibn Abbas, before I get to the hadith of Ibn Abbas, I want to show you the same hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said they are the best of the whole days of the year. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum قالوا يا رسول الله ولا مثلهن في سبيل الله. Said, you're saying that they are the best of the days. How about days that a person is fighting in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They're not equal to that? You mean they are better than that? You are sitting at home, doing good deeds, and someone else is putting their life on the line. Are you doing more hasanat than that person in different days than those 10 days? قال صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا مثلهن في سبيل الله إلا من عفر وجهه في التراب. يعني قتل في سبيل الله. He said, no, unless a person really went to fight and died. And a different hadith, which I will tell you now, ما من أيام العمل الصالح فيها أو فيهن أحب إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى من هذه العشر، أي العشر من ذي الحجة. قالوا يا رسول الله ولا الجهاد في سبيل الله؟ قال ولا الجهاد في سبيل الله إلا رجل خرج بنفسه وماله فلم يرجع من ذلك بشيء. يعني قتل في سبيل الله وفقد جميع ماله. Think of this. You come and you do an extra 2 rak'ah. The Prophet ﷺ said, there is nothing equates that. Nothing you can be doing or anyone do, O Prophet of Allah, not even fighting and dying for this, going for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, not even that. But he gave an exception. What's the exception? A person who took his wealth and everything he owns, his life, and went, and he lost all of his wealth, and he got killed in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe that will equate it. Equate it. Picture how much hasanah, any good deed you do. It's not, I mentioned the 2 rak'ah just as an example, but it can be Assalamu alaikum, it can be a smile, it can be any righteous deed. You intend to do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is more rewarding. هذه الأيام فرصة للمسلم، يعني فرصة لكسب الثواب، فرصة للمغفرة، فرصة لتجديد التوبة، فرصة لشحن القلوب بالإيمان، فرصة عظيمة عند أي مسلم يحرص على دينه ينتهز هذه الأيام ويعمل في هذه الأيام ويجتهد في هذه الأيام ويقدم في هذه الأيام. ولكن للأسف ترى الناس مثلا يركزوا على شهر رمضان وعلى العشر الأواخر من رمضان، مع أن هذه الأيام أفضل من العشر الأواخر في رمضان. نحن نتكلم عن الأيام في عشر ذي الحجة. When you talk about the 10 days of Dhul Hijja, it is an opportunity for you to gain more hasanat, a lot more hasanat, tons of hasanat. Erase a lot of sayyat. Charge your heart, because when you do little qiyam,
when you intensify your reading, when you start doing work, it revives the iman. Rasul ﷺ قال إن القلب لا يصدأ, that the heart actually gets corroded. The heart just gets rust. And جلاؤه ذكر الله. ومن أحب الأشياء في هذه الأيام ذكر الله سبحانه وتعالى. So when you do good deeds, what happens? You revive yourself. You revive your heart. It's like you're so busy in life, and all of a sudden now you stop and you start connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you that life. So it's an opportunity for you to take advantage of that. Many people don't. Why? Because they don't understand the importance of it. They focus on Ramadan and the last 10 days of Ramadan, and they think this is it, and these days are better. These days are more rewarding than the last 10 days of Ramadan. This is how valuable these 10 days that people need to understand. Let's take some of the good things that you want to make sure that you do during these 10 days. Now, number one, definitely going to Hajj and Umrah is the specialty of this month. The specialty of this month is going to Hajj. That's why they call it the 10 days of Dhul Hijja. That's when Hajj starts in these 10 days. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم العمرة إلى العمرة كفارة لما بينهما والحج المبرور ليس له أجر إلا الجنة. Umrah erases all the sins in between. And Hajj Mabrur means accepted Hajj, the Hajj that you do according to the Sunnah. Accepted Hajj, the reward for it is Jannah. And if you make Hajj and this Hajj is Mabrur, that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala erased all of your sins and you come back as a newborn baby, sinless, but loaded with what? Hasanat. So a lot of people understand when you come like a newborn baby, it's like you have no sins and you have no good deeds either. Because you haven't done anything. No, you come like a newborn baby, sin-wise, no sins. But from goodness, you have all the goodness that you have from the rewards. Second one, Siyam. Fasting the 10 days of Dhul Hijja. Is that a good point? 10 days? 9 days. So why do we say 10 days? When we talk about fasting, we'll say 9 days. Some of the scholars explain that in a nice way. He said, when you fast, it's taghib, because it's 10 days. Eid is one of those days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you this is a freebie. You fasted 10 days, enjoy yourself and celebrate the other one and eat and drink and everything. And it is like fasting the 10 days, reward-wise. And when you talk about 1 out of 10, it's like by the lead, by the majority, you include that as if you're doing it there. I'll give you an example. When you want to read al-mu'awwidat. Al-mu'awwidat. What are the mu'awwidat? قل هو الله أحد قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس. What is قل هو الله أحد doing there? There is no قل أعوذ. It is taghlib. It's going because it is sharing the same ayat. The Prophet ﷺ puts it with these two surahs all the time. It took the name of those three, the same thing. When you fast the 9 days of the Hijjah, the 10 days included, even though you don't fast a day. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, as one of his wives said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصوم تسعا أو كان يصوم 9 ذي الحجة ويوم عاشوراء و3 أيام من كل شهر. أول 2 من الشهر وخمسين. One of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, said that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to fast 9 days of Dhul Hijja. So tomorrow will be day 1. You fast 9. The 9th day will be what? The day of Arafah. And what happens the day of Arafah? 2 years will be erased. One before and one to come. That's the value of it. He used to fast 9 days of Dhul Hijjah. The day of Ashura. What day is Ashura? 10 Muharram? Muharram. Muharram is the first month of lunar months, right? Or the second? First. Muharram, Safar, Rabi' Awwal, Rabi' Thani, Jamadi Awwal, Jamadi Thani, Rajab, Sha'ban, Ramadan. What's after Ramadan? Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijja. So Dhul Hijja is what? 12, number 12 of those months. So Muharram will be coming soon. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to fast that. And what else? 3 days from every month. He used to fast the first Monday and 2 Thursdays. Now of course there are other hadith that tells you how he used to fast, but this is one of the hadith that includes that 9 days of the Hijjah. Because some people, when you tell them fasting the 10 days of the Hijjah, they would go, oh, it's not the Sunnah. Well, this is a proof that it is the Sunnah. And even if it's not, if there is no hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, مَا مِنْ عَمَلٍ, any righteous deed. And what is righteous deed better than the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith al-Qudsi, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الصَّوْمُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ. Fasting is so special for me, and I'm the one who rewards for it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the best deeds He likes, definitely fasting is one of those. If you fast an extra days, what do you get? What do you get? Look at this. ما من عبد يصوم يوما في سبيل الله إلا باعد الله سبحانه وتعالى بذلك اليوم وجهه عن النار 70 خريفا. يعني, I don't know, you get the distance. Every day you fast. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hellfire is a distance of 70 years away from you. Years of what? Is it light? Is it in a plane? Is it in a car? يا أخي خليها walking. The hellfire is 70 years walking far away from you for each day. Now, 70 years, you think you can get to China, brother? What do you think? 70 years. Yeah, but you gotta be a good swimmer, right? So just to imagine, this is in another way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that hellfire is far away from you. Don't worry about it. You're so good. You're doing such a wonderful deed. You're not going to go to hellfire. This is a bad tiding. In takbir, يعني, subhanallah, when you say Allahu Akbar, takbir, just Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, subhanallah, alhamdulillah. Look what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. أكثروا فيهن من التسبيح والتحميد والتهليل والتكبير. يعني do a lot of subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. How much that costs? Nothing. How hard is it? It's not fasting, it's not paying, it's not doing anything. Just subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Look what he said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. هن الباقيات الصالحات أخبرنا صلى الله عليه وسلم أن لكل تسبيحة وتحميد وتهليل وتكبير شجر. You get a tree in Jannah. You like trees? Good. Because if you imagine yourself have an orchard or have a garden that doesn't have any trees, what kind of a house is this, brother? It's a requirement in Arlington to have some trees anytime you want to build. A requirement. That's how good the trees are. Now every time you say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a tree for you the day of judgment. And look what also, ثواب كل كلمة منها عند الله سبحانه وتعالى كجبل أحد. The reward for each one of it is like the size of the mountain of Uhud. Look at the hadith. When you say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, give salah on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى علي من أمتي صلاة مخلصا من قلبه صلى الله عليه بها 10 صلوات ورفعه بها 10 درجات وكتب له بها 10 حسنات ومحى عنه بها 10 سيئات. If you say اللهم صل على محمد or صلى الله عليه وسلم or the Salah al-Ibrahimiyya, اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد to the end. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, if you do that sincerely, look what you get. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make salah on you that many. What's the salah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? His acceptance to you, His mentioning of your name to the angels. Picture Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about you. Picture how if someone tells you, how can you get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make salah on you? What do? Make salah on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then you get back from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning you. And He will elevate you 10 darajat in Jannah with this. And He will erase 10 bad deeds and give you 10 good deeds for salah. You do one, how many He gives you? 10. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But look at the subhanallah wa bihamdih. This is tasbih. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم من هاله الليل أن يكبده. And anyone who's too scared or worried or cannot do a lot of work at night, like qiyam for instance. أو بخل بالمال أن ينفقه. A little bit tight. You can say stingy, cheap, doesn't want to spend too much money. أو جبن عن العدو أن يقاتله. Doesn't want to go fight, doesn't want to defend because he's coward or he's scared. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, فَلْيُكْثِرْ مِنْ سُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَبِحَمْدِهِ فَإِنَّهَا أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ مِنْ جَبَلٍ أو مِنْ جَبَلِ ذَهَبٍ يُنْفِقُهُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Brothers, can you think? Subhanallah wa bihamdih, more better to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than a mountain of gold you give it charity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mountain of gold, it's not more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or more rewarding, you can say, than saying one subhanallah wa bihamdih. Maybe that's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, you say subhanallah wa bihamdih 100 times, what happens? All of your sins will be erased, even if they are like the foam of the sea. That's how valuable the tasbih or the saying subhanallah wa bihamdih. Also, أكثر من قول لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم فإنها من كنز الجنة. There are gold, and there are silver, and there are jewels and jewelries and everything in this dunya. You want to know what are the jewels of the Jannah? لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. When you say لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله, this is what you get more. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying it is one of the jewels of the Jannah. Now, of course, you do the takbir and the tahmeel and tahleel anywhere you go. In the car, at your work, when you're asleep, when you're sitting, when you're just any time that you feel free, you have it. I mean, your tongue is always with you, right, brother? You don't leave it at home when you go. You have it with you all the time, so use it. And instead of staring at one of those screens that you're just moving your hand and doing nothing all your life playing that, what's the name to share? Yeah, that one. Wasting your life and wasting your time in good days like that just simply because you're not going to school, and you take advantage of that, and it's so easy and rewarding more than anything. If you don't have money simply because you're young, or simply you like to give money, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you an opportunity. It-tawbah, one of the things that you want to do, start with it, repentance. If you say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, astaghfirullah al-azim, Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi faghfir li فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. Oh Allah, I wronged myself, I did bad, forgive me, you're the only one who forgives. He subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. These are wonderful days to start by repentance. إذا كان الإنسان يعني مجرم في حياته، متعدي لحدود الله سبحانه وتعالى، ظالم، ماكل حقوق، مستغيث، نمام، حسود، عقود، كل هذه الأمراض، أمراض القلوب وأمراض اللسان وأمراض العيون وأمراض الآذان، كل هذه يعني مصائب. تب إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى يغفر لك ما قد سلف. Repent. You could be a person who talks so much behind people's back. Could be someone who took the rights and exceeds the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You could be a person who sins so much without even knowing. You could be a person who's committing shirk unknowingly. It's time to say astaghfirullah sincerely from the bottom of your heart. Now, of course, if you take the rights of other people, you need to give that to people. But in general, it is an opportunity to say astaghfirullah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah yaghar. You know what that is? Al-ghira. It's not really jealousy. It is protective jealousy. And we cannot really give it a proper word to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But, for example, if someone talked about his sister and he gets angry, that is the positive jealousy for his right, because he's a protector for his sister. He protects her honor, and he protects it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put some laws and made certain things haram, prohibited. He subhanahu wa ta'ala gets angry when that is violated. So when you sin and you transgress, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has that protective jealousy. وغيرة الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يأتي المرء ما حرم الله عليه. So إن الله حد حدود. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts borders and boundaries for people, and He prohibited things and He allowed things, and He left things unmentioned. He doesn't want you subhanahu wa ta'ala to get even close to that haram. Because if you get close to that border, what happens? Yushiko and yaqa'a. You're about to fall in it. Shaitan, yourself, temptation, and all of that will make you into that. So stay away from haram. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yaghar. What does that mean? We go back. If this person, somebody mentioned his sister, and he got angry, what does that mean? He's going to go and get himself a cup of coffee and start drinking tea, or he's going to take care of the person in front of him. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His command is violated, and He gives that protective jealousy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates for that violation, what is He going to do? He's going to smite you, He's going to take care of you, He's going to punish you. So that is the meaning of the hadith, to stay away from that and repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the sins. A'mal salihah. In these days you want righteous deeds. Give you an example. masjid. Jama'ah prayer. Why don't you come and do Jama'ah prayer? Look what the Prophet ﷺ said. من غدا إلى مسجد أو راح أعد الله له نزلا بالجنة كلما غدا وكلما راح. You come to the masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepares a treat for you in Jannah. Yani if you are coming to visit me and I prepare my home and I'm so rich and wealthy and generous, you can imagine what you're going to find at my home welcoming you. Every time you come to the masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepares something for you in Jannah when you go to Jannah, inshallah. Qiyam. Man qama بعشر آيات لم يكتب من الغافلين. 10 آيات, brothers. يعني والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر في ذلك قسم ذي حج. Give it maybe, if you read that, maybe 30 seconds. 2 rak'ah, qiyam before fajr. Wake up before fajr 15 minutes, or 10 minutes, or 5 minutes, and pray 2 rak'ah and read it. لم يكتب من الغافلين. You will not be among the heedless. What's the horrible thing about the heedless? Heedless people, in Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compared them to animals. He said, but hum adall. They're even worse than animals. To be heedless or to have a quality of the heedless people is a horrible thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said they have brains but they don't think with it. They have eyes but they don't see with it. They have ears but they don't hear with it. They are like adults. In fact, they are more misguided. Who are they, O Allah? أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْغَافِلُونَ. Those are the heedless people. So if you do 10 ayah qiyam, you are not written from those. If you do more than that, some people want to do more. مَنْ قَامَ بِمِئَةِ آيَةٍ كُتِبَ مِنَ الْقَانِتِينَ. If you do qiyam with 100 ayah, you're from the qaniteen. How about 1,000? مقنطرين. مقنطرين, قنطار. يعني it's a huge amount that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compared for those who do 1,000. Can you do 1,000, brother? Look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His messenger, smooths the way for us. He said, do you want to be from those people who remember me and I will not record you as heedless? Just do 10 ayah. Once you are keen on doing 10 ayah is going to look so small for you. Then you're going to start increasing. He said, if you do 100, you will be from the qaniteen. حَبُّ الصَّلَاةِ إِلَّا سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى طُرُقُ قُنُوتٍ. The best salah is the one that you recite lots of Quran in it. Now when you do 100, for a while, it would start to look little. 1,000 is not far off. You know what? I watched a video. I didn't know. We read, we talk, we teach. I watched a video that says, if you follow it, if you do what I'm telling you here, all you have to do is just do it one time, and I guarantee you, you will get hooked to it. I'm going to tell it to you. How about you pay for it? No money. Okay, just do tasbih. Takbir tahmid. Nobody likes to pay money. Look at it. He said, يعني قال قم وصلي ركعتين فقط 10 أيام. كل يوم صلي ركعتين 10 أيام. ويوم 11 قول خلاص ما بديش أقوم. ستقوم وستصلي بإذن الله تعالى. It's working. Try it. He said, get up and pray 2 rak'ah every night for Fajr. 2 rak'ah. Do that and read what? Read a short surah, basic. Do it for for 10 days consistently. And he said, day 11, plan on not waking up and doing it. You will wake up and do it. Allah, brother, I tried it and it worked. I want to see how many of you, tomorrow is day 1, right, Sheikh? 10 days of Dhul Hijja, that you try it on. 2 rak'ah every day before Fajr. Read short surahs. Make sure you wake up for it. Make every, the condition is, don't miss a day. Make every effort. Set the alarm. Ask your friend to call you. Work with your friend. Tell your wife, tell your dad, tell your mom, husband, whatever, and do that. وشوفوا بعد 10 أيام, if you don't get hooked on it and you can't give it up, بإذن الله, you will be doing that. So that's one. Visiting brothers, visiting one another, visiting sick people. So many people are having heart attack these days. And so many people having cancer. And so many people having depression. You know, probably, I won't be surprised if more than 80% of the people are depressed. In fact, I don't think hardly anyone doesn't have depression. Life does that. If you're not connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be ruined. That's why the dua of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan wal-'ajzi wal-kasal. Ham and hazan depresses you. And when you are far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're on your own. How can you deal with the problems of this universe without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's what causes the depression. So make sure you make a special time of your time to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by visiting people. Wallahi, when you walk to the hospital and you see your brother and you are able to say Assalamu alaikum and walk out. Nobody asks you where you're going. Nobody tells you no, you cannot leave. You're going back home with your family to your work. What kind of favor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you? What kind of a wonderful life Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you? He stays there. He cannot go anywhere. And you can go freely. That's a ni'mah that makes you reflect on yourself a lot more than looking at it as a favor for the person. So do yourself a favor, visit sick people, and get the ajr of doing that. Your kinship, if you have a sister, you have an aunt, a relative or something, visit them. Assalamu alaikum. Even talking over the phone or overseas or anywhere, it's still reaching your kinship. The first thing Prophet Muhammad said when he went to Medina, أيها الناس أطعموا أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام وصلوا الأرحام وصلوا بالليل والناس نيام. First thing he said, say Assalamu alaikum to each and every one of you, and make sure you feed one another. Food builds a relationship. That's why the brothers over here going to feed you tomorrow. Sah, you have food tomorrow. Alhamdulillah, for 9 days or 10 days. Eid, you still have donuts for Eid, mashallah. So you have the food. What does that do? It's the relationship. You know, the brother says, Alhamdulillah, I had a baby. Everybody smiles. What, a boy or a girl? Oh, it's a boy. Bigger smile. Why? Because you're sheep. Now everybody's looking for the brother. Your brother, when is your aqiqah? I said, I sent it to Somalia. Oh, that's good. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Why? Why can't you send it to Somalia and also do it here? We want to eat. We want to eat. What do you think I'm smiling? Why do you think I get so happy for you? Because I'm expecting food from you. Food builds relationship. If every time you have an opportunity or an occasion, you want to do a aqiqah, you send it overseas. You want to do udhiyah, you send it overseas. What kind of relationship we're going to have here? We're going to starve to death. Wrong. Zakat cannot leave the country where you're at if there are poor people. You have to take care of the people here first. Al-aqrabun awla bil ma'ruf. Start with yourself, with your family, with your neighbor, and keep going, and then spread to the overseas. When do you think the overseas is going to get over with? It will never get over with. That means we're never going to have any food here. And guess what? We are so blessed that that sheep of yours, you can buy 10 of it. Don't just limit yourself. Well, the Prophet ﷺ said, do here. Okay, if you don't do it, aqiqah, just slaughter it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and invite the people to eat. أطعم الطعام. It's not for poor people. It's for rich people. It's for hungry and not hungry. Fat and skinny, doesn't matter. Feed. Why? Because it strengthens relationship. Imagine when I tell brother, what are you doing? Not really. Let's go have lunch. Okay. Be invited. And guess what, Sheikh? When you pay, it feels better than when you eat and you don't pay. But this is exactly like Qiyam. You need to practice it at least 10 times. Invite people and keep paying. Over 10 days, see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does to you. You will invite more and pay more. Because you're dealing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything you do, make it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Feed the people for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Invite people for the sake of Allah. Even for your wife, even for your children, everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will wonderful, you will have a wonderful life. Khatm al-Quran. We're here. I know I want to talk about Quran, but I want to give you an idea from here. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. What comes with the Quran, healing and mercy. You connect with the Quran, you're holding to the robe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you start tomorrow, for intelligent people, 3 juz, 60 pages, you finish the Quran in 10 days. You finish the whole Quran in 10 days. You can't read 60 pages. And this is a special occasion that you need to really free yourself. Allah, if you free yourself from your Facebook and your, no offense, because I'm on Facebook right now. So. If you free yourself, this is good, this is positive Facebook. We're not talking about someone just going through the threads and looking at everything as a naked dawah and give it back. Yeah, that's not what Facebook is now. We should have an Islamic Facebook. What would you call Islamic Facebook look like? It's hard to. But those people who live on Facebook and live on WhatsApp and live on the media and just look and answer it and all that and consider that dawah or seeking knowledge. What kind of seeking knowledge? Here and there, you grab an ayah, hadith, and God knows if it's good or not good. Why don't you treat yourself on Facebook and WhatsApp? Whenever you get sick, go there and start looking for a solution and cancel the doctor. Would you dare to do that? No, you would not. But it's okay, you can go to hell. Dare to get in the sins and get in innovations and spread the haram without knowing if it's okay or not, and then consider yourself seeking knowledge, enjoying good and forbidding evil, abandoning your wife, abandoning your husband, abandoning your children, abandoning your masjid, abandoning the lectures. I mean, look, you guys are wonderful. Allah al-Azim, this time, to have few people sitting, wallahi, this is, I would call that jihad fi sabilillah. It is so hard. People are so lazy and so attached to the phone, they don't want to leave the house or do anything in their life. And that is sad. You can go online and read or listen to a lecture, but to compare it with sitting in the lecture, no comparison. Hasanat-wise, no comparison. Understanding-wise, no comparison. Seeking real knowledge-wise, no comparison. Yeah, it's good. But I'm talking about those people who cancel the masjid and cancel, like they say, oh, we have conference. Oh, yeah, really? Oh, good. You know, I'm going to tell you something. Just before I came, one person asked me about 10 days of the Hijjah when they start, and I said, I was coming here, I said, I have a lecture about the virtues of 10 days of the Hijjah at Center Masjid. Come, and you know what the answer was? I'm talking this to a good person. Good person, yeah, I think really good. He said, oh, Center Masjid is 20 minutes away. The masjid near me, 5 minutes. Otherwise, I would come. I sent him a smiley face. Amazing how you value knowledge. Of course, he's not going, there's no other lecture there. He's just going for the prayer. 20 minutes away. I said, SubhanAllah, Bukhari walked for a month to verify hadith, and did not even come back with the answer. A month walking. This guy in 2018 car, 20 minutes away. But hey, knowledge is not value. It is the most rewarding thing that you can get during those 10 days of the Hijjah, different than the obligations. It's more rewarding than fasting and charity and anything to seek knowledge. Because if you don't have the knowledge, how are you going to fast, and how are you going to pray, and how are you going to do, and how are you going to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how are you going to know sincerity? You don't. That's why seeking knowledge is better than any extra reward. SubhanAllah. So make sure Quran free, read it, connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, get the healing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and get the connection that would be. I will get you a few more inshallah. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. Starts when? The day of the Fajr of Arafah. Well, it starts the beginning, general, anytime, anywhere. But when you have the Fajr of Arafah, you start doing the takbir after every salah until the Asr of the third day after Eid. Ayyam al-Tashriq, the Asr time. So after every salah, you do some takbir and you continue on doing that until the Asr of the third day of Ayyam al-Tashriq. Ayyam al-Tashriq is what days? Eid is what day? 10th of the Hijjah, right? What's the 9th? 9th is Arafah, right? Sorry? What's Ayyam Tashriq? Comes before Eid or after? After. So 3 days. It'll be 11th, 12th, and 13th of the Hijjah. So on Asr, the 13th, that tasbih stops. This is specific, and the general, you can do tasbih and takbir all the time. During those 10 days. But after the Salah, you do it only from the time of 9th of the Hijjah, which is the day of Arafah, until the 3rd of Ayyam Tashriq, Hasr time. Slaughtering, how many of you are planning to slaughter their whims and desires?
3 days or 4 days?
To slaughter? 3. 3 days after. If you want to slaughter your whims and desires, that's number 1. If you slaughter that, اذبح هواك قبل ما تذبح خروفك. هذا الهوى اللي بتقول I feel like it. Why did you do it? Because I want to. Why do you want to? Because I think so. I think so. I feel like it. I want to slaughter it. What do you want to raise? Raise Qala Allah, Qala Rasul. Why are you doing this? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. Why am I not doing that? Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said don't do it. Leave I think and buts and all of that to yourself. Slaughter your wills and desires, and then after that you slaughter what? Your sheep. And make sure, I know you're going to send one to Somalia. Send it to Somalia, but we want to smell it here and taste it here and get some of it here. And you get some of it for yourself, some of it for poor people, and some of it for whom? For the rich, regular people. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave the other people from the food. So make sure you slaughter. If you want to slaughter and you have beard, you should have beard, right? I mean, I'm just, in case you have a disease or something and you have to shave, but generally you have a beard. If you don't have a beard, you have an issue. You have a beard? Alhamdulillah. 2 hairs is good. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you. By the way, if your beard is not so beautiful like his, don't say, oh, you know, because my beard is empty from here and it's not from here. Habibi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gave you the hair, and He is the one who told you to raise the hair. He didn't say, if I don't fill up your face with beautiful beard, raise it. I mean, don't raise it, but if I did raise it. No, He said raise it. So if you have one hair, brother, one hair, raise it and take care of it and oil it and shine it and kiss it and say, Alhamdulillah, I'm following the Sunnah, and try to make it qabda, you know, even if it's one hair, stretch it like that and see if it comes like that, if you want, but you can keep it as is. Why did I say that? Because if you want to slaughter, difference of opinion, some scholars said you cannot cut your hair or clip your nails or take any part of the skin of your body. You should refrain from that. What is the proof? سلمة رضي الله عنها قالت قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا رأيتم هلال ذي الحجة وأراد أحدكم أن يضحي فليمسك عن شعره وأظفاره. She said that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, if you see the moon of Dhul Hijja, which we already saw, and you want to slaughter, what does that mean you want to slaughter? Slaughter, you need to slaughter. But that means if you are able to slaughter, you have money to slaughter, because it's not a must if you don't have or if you can't afford it. And you want to slaughter, and what you should do, فَلْيُمْسِكْ عَنْ شَعْرِهِ وَأَظْفَارِهِ, then stop cutting your hair and cutting your nails. So some scholars said, according to this, it's wajib, you must do it. Some scholars said it's hated, but not punished if you don't do it. Now you have these 2 choices. Which one you want to do, brother, and why? I like to get the feelings of those brothers. Which one you're going to do and why? You're going to touch your hair. Let's say, let's say you forgot to clip your nails or hair, and you just look bad. What would you do? تفضل شاعر. Here's the rule. What I want, myself and you, if you can, to abide by. When you have, some scholars say you must do, and some scholars say less than that. No, it's not must, it's just hate. I go with must, with myself. Why? It's guaranteed good. If you have haram, and someone says, no, but there's an opinion that says it's halal, I go with haram. It's guaranteed. If you have wajib and you have mustahab, difference of opinion. Some said wajib, some said mustahab. Like coming to the masjid. Some said wajib to pray 2 rak'ah. Some said no, it's mustahab. I make it wajib. I don't make it wajib, by the way. I don't change the rule. I just act it. I do it. Why? It's guaranteed. That way, if it's not wajib, I still did it. And if it's wajib, I did it. So both ways, you get the hasanat. What is this? I call this keenness to go to Jannah. And keenness to not go to hellfire. I stay away from anything that has a possibility of haram. And I do everything that has a possibility of must do, and you will be on the safe side. So if you want to start, don't clip your nails and don't cut your hair, inshallah, and you will be on the right path. But you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by not imposing that on people. When there's a difference of opinion, I can't come and tell him what you do and you can't be doing this and all that and fight with him and all that. Yeah, I can advise him. I can convince him. I can talk with him, but I cannot force him or impose my understanding on him. Finally, my brothers and sisters, Salat al-Eid, of course, by the way, the day of Eid is the best day of the entire year. The best, better than any other days. Which means when you celebrate it, you are celebrating and getting the rewards of the best of the 10 days of Dhul Hijja. It's not time to break loose and to go and miss Salah, miss all of that, and say, today is time of Eid. No, you can do that, but not at the expense of the obligations. And you will be getting the most rewards while you're having fun. So if you had decided to have a basketball game, that is a wonderful act. Of the day of Eid, you get more hasanat than a person doing something else during the other days. Why? Because this is a day of fun, a special gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us. So make sure you shower, make sure you have perfume, make sure you walk from one street and come back when you drive and come back from a different street. Make sure this is the Eid al-Adha, not to eat from your udhiyah. But if you go to Somalia, then you got to run after it. Right? So make sure you get your ticket, you send the udhiyah there, and by the time you get there, you do Eid and eat from it. But then again, we have money, right? You have money, right, brother? You don't have money? Okay, we'll feed you, brother. We'll feed you, inshallah, no problem. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you money. So slaughter, eat from your slaughter. Sometimes it's hard over here. Why? Because to slaughter your sheep, and you may finish at Asr time or Maghrib time, and starve to death. But if you are able to, otherwise you eat normally. And this is a sunnah, you get extra hasanat if you follow that, because Eid al-Fitr, the Eid after Ramadan, you don't go to Eid, you break your fast and you eat some dates. That's the sunnah. So you separate it from Ramadan. Because Ramadan, you don't eat after Fajr, so you don't want to go to Salah without anything. Now this is time over with that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us and reward us and make sure you do understand and follow وَتَبَتَّلْ إِلَيْهِ تَبْتِيلًا. Get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take advantage of special times at night. Remember, 2 homeworks we need. Quran, 3 juz'ah, inshallah, Qiyam al-Layl, make sure 10 days, 2 rak'ah, short, and please report to me, tell me I got hooked or it didn't make a difference in my life. And we'll see, inshallah. 10 days, Sheikh. Not 1 day, 10 days. Any questions? تفضل يا شيخ.
الأخذ بالعزائم أفضل من الأخذ بالرخصة.
Transfer.
الواحد ياخذ بالعزيمة أفضل من الأخذ بالرخصة. أنا بسأل على
شو على العزيمة والرخصة بالنسبة إيه؟
على الأمر اللي حضرتك اتكلمت فيه في قبل الكلام اللي انت اتكلمته دلوقتي. لو عايز يقص من اظافره او ياخد من لحيته او ياخد من راسه، فالافضل ان هو ياخد بالعزيمه.
نعم.
افضل ياخد رخصه.
طيب شو يعني نصيحه ولا؟
لا انا افضل. يعني ان الله يحب ان تؤتى رخصه كما لا يحب ان تنتهى
ما هو if you have a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you have a rukhsa for it. The rukhsa it's better to act upon the rukhsah if there is no difficulty and hardship on you. Like an example, you travel and you're fasting. Azima, something is different, is to fast. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you rukhsah. Rukhsah, you can break your fast, but it's better not to break it if it doesn't impose extra hardship on you. شايف يا شيخ؟ يعني يحب رخص الله سبحانه وتعالى لأن الله سبحانه وتعالى يريد بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. فإذا كان الأمر يسير عليك تأتي بالرخصة، لكن إذا كان في مشقة يحب العزيمة، قصدي يحب أنك تأتي بهذه الرخصة بدلا من العزيمة. لذلك الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أثناء غزوة بعض الصحابة أفطروا، بعض الصحابة ما أفطروا، فهو الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أراد أن يري الصحابة إذا في مشقة أفطر. فبعض الناس ما أفطروا لكنهم كانوا في مشقة. شو قال؟ أولئك العصاة، أولئك العصاة، أولئك العصاة. when you have hardship, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you have permission to break your fast, for instance, why you insist on making it harder on yourself when you have the permission? So in that aspect, the rukhsah يحب أن تؤتى، وإذا لم يكن ذلك العزيمة أفضل. لهذا السبب قال الله سبحانه وتعالى وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. يعني مع الرخصة، لكن إذا تستطيع بدون مشقة الصيام أفضل. والله أعلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. بارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خيرا. Good 10 days of the Hijjah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the time and the energy and the health and the wealth to make you practice the Qiyam and read the whole Quran, brother. The whole Quran. Read juz a day and make sure you do practice the Qiyam for 10 days, inshallah. Inshallah, you'll be hooked. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.